Welcome back to the United Stand. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. I'm Terry Fleurs from the Football Terrace. I hope you're all well. Loads to talk about this afternoon on the 2 p.m. show. Alejandro Garnacho, the title race for the wide man. Is it now finally about to start? We're talking about that. I'm going to give you a theory of mine is into why Man United are being so slow this summer. Because we need to move quicker. We need to start getting these players in for Ruben Amorim. There's an update in relation to separate updates this afternoon on Mbuemo and why there is a bit of a delay. Is it PR? Do you think it's the right way for the club to behave? Are you happy with the new asking price? We're going to go into those stories as well. Sancho's exit and severance pay. I want to get your opinions on that as well this afternoon. Plus, if Newcastle miss out on Hugo Ekitike, they may turn to Man United target Ollie Watkins. Good deal for them. But what should Manchester United do? Look, hit like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure bell notifications are turned on to support this brilliant platform that, of course, Mark created. But without you all, it's literally Mark and me and Beth and everybody else talking into a mirror. So good to see you all here. And let's jump straight into it. Alejandro Garnacho. And it was a real interesting one for me because Ben Jacobs, that you all watch on this channel, he comes on my channel as well, the Football Terrace, and he's had a very good summer at calling things early. So Mbuemo as an example, he was the only journalist that kept on saying, just keep an eye on Man United and Mbuemo when we were being written off. And there was a comment from him. I'm going to read you that comment now that has been retweeted today. And the comment was actually produced by us here at the United Stand. And it was about Garnacho, but it was put out on the 10th of June, where he said, Aston Villa are interested in Alejandro Garnacho as they want to strengthen their left side following Rashford's loan spell ending. And that was said 6 days ago. Nothing much else has happened. But then he retweets it today, 6 days later. Something in it. The Daily Mail now reporting that Aston Villa look set to intensify their interest. And this is music to all of... There should be music to all of our ears. We need sales. We've been slow this summer. I think a big part of that is players not moving on, massive salaries being paid. And Mark and I were talking about this, and I think it comes in at around £825,000 a week is being paid to Rashford, Garnacho, Malacia, Anthony, Sancho. So adding new players like Mbuemo on 180 to 200k a week, one of the reasons why that is plausible based on the fact we're broke, based on the fact that we have barely any money, is do they want to start bringing new signings in, having an overlap and costing themselves an additional £1 - £2 million? I mean, it totals about 1.6 million so far in July that's been paid. Do they want to add on top of that bill? Probably not, because to politely put this, they are thrifty. So these deals moving on, I've called it out last week. I'll call it out again now. We haven't been good enough. I'll die on this hill that we shouldn't be looking to lose money on these deals. I'm a little bit disgusted at Ineos for the idea of this severance package to Sancho. And I know a lot of people disagree with me. And I get the notion that we must get rid of these players. We're not making any profit on him, but at least the salary's gone. It's better for the dressing room. I understand all of that. But where my disgust comes in, where my anger comes in, where my worry comes in, is that we've had a player power problem at this club since 2017, 2018. Ever since the club didn't back Jose on removing Pogba and Martial. Now, I want to state that it's not Martial and Pogba's fault. They did nothing wrong in this circumstance. The Glazers did, by not allowing a manager to move on players that weren't working for him, didn't fit for him. And that has had a butterfly effect. And my worry about this severance package to Sancho, and this is why it connects to the Garnacho news, why I'm so worried, why I think it's a bad idea, is that, well, Villa might want a severance package now. Rashford's exit might require a severance package. Anthony's might require a severance package. Malacias might require a severance package. And even if it's just 5 million on each deal, that's 25 million pounds we would burn that we so desperately need. Plus, and even more importantly for me, is it tells every other player left in the dressing room, well, if we need to get out, they'll just pay us off. I don't like the precedent. I don't like the taste. I'd rather not do it and have them in the reserves and set a stance that we will not be dictated to in that way. That being said, where I've got to be balanced, where I've got to be objective, is we do need the money. And something is better than nothing because we are in financial difficulties. But there's just something about paying off Sancho that leaves a nasty and bitter taste in my mouth. Not because of him, the individual. I've got no personal problem with Jadon Sancho. I'm just talking about the precedent that it sets. But on Garnacho, I'm going to go to your comments in just a few moments' time. For me, and Lou, you're right, that is a goalkeeper. We waste £25 million on severances. That literally could be us getting no new goalkeeper. We have to weigh that up in the longer term. That being said, if we let them all sit in the reserves, we're not getting a new goalkeeper either. But does it set us up for better negotiations in the future? Maybe. But on Garnacho, I don't want to get carried away because we haven't been close to selling a player all summer. We haven't really been close all summer to getting rid of a player. However, and so I'm just looking over there at some news that broke on the United Stand posted something. I want to see what it was about. It's about Mbuemo. We'll cover that in a minute. We haven't been close, really. There's been some stories from Italy, but nothing from any of the big journalists of selling someone. So I'm not going to get carried away and say, yes, Garnacho's gone. That's 40, 50, 60 million in. We're in a great space. Woo, let's go. Because it feels still very early stages. But it's something that Manchester United have got to start hurrying along. So far, this summer transfer window has not been good enough. I gave it leeway. I gave it patience. I gave it time. I wanted to I didn't want to allow emotion to guide me. And what I mean by that is, and I'm sure some of you feel very similar in this way, you kind of get this situation where, how do you say this correctly? The Garnacho news last week, that he was going to come back to training. I don't know if you saw this. I certainly did. I can't wait to read your comments, and I'm going to come to them all in a moment. But did you remember last week when everybody lost their minds? Ruben Amorim's got no backbone. Ruben Amorim's a female dog. I'm not going to try not to swear on Mark's channel. He's this, he's that. The club's a disgrace. We're going back on our word. Player power rules. And then it turned out it wasn't real. That's one of the biggest reasons why I've tried to control my emotions this summer. Be objective. Be open-minded to being wrong. Or, being open-minded to being wrong. And we didn't sign the 3 players that I think we deserved, or the manager deserved. The 3 players that fans definitely deserved after what we've been put through. But we haven't brought 3 players in for the start of that second week of pre-season. It feels like we're not that much closer in the last 2 weeks to getting Mbuemo done. There's talk today of they keep raising the money. £62 million Alex Crook is saying. £70 million Jamie Jackson is saying. And I think there's a bit of PR in there, there's no doubt. But we're not closer to getting it done, and fans are angry. We haven't sold anybody quick enough. I stand up for the club when it comes to... I like the fact we're not overpaying, and I respect the fact that we're not selling players at a loss. We didn't just back down to Juve and went, look, there you go, £10 million, and we'll pay half his salary for the next year, which would have rendered us in a loss for that deal. We didn't back down and etc. to that degree. However, I am judging the speed of execution. It hasn't been good enough. We're now on the 16th of July. The league season starts in under a month. And we've got 1 new player in. And fans are right to start criticising that. Now, some will say, Terry, no, I've been criticising it from the start. That's fair. And you were right. We gave a certificate out on my channel on Friday to Staffy for being correct. We gave him the inaugural I Told You So award on the Football Terrace, and it's great. Absolutely great. But that doesn't mean that fans that were patient, that doesn't mean that fans that were going to see how it went don't deserve the right to now complain and push for the club to do better. The same as the fans that are saying the season's a write-off, we're 100% finished, they have every right to celebrate games that we win or trophies that we win now or in the future if they're wrong. fans have got the right to an opinion, and fans have got the right to change their minds when information and facts change. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. So let's not play both sides off against each other. I think that's a horrible strategy from some YouTubers to try and gain clicks, and I think it's absolutely disruptive and disgraceful for what we're all trying to create, which is communities that talk about football. You can't celebrate because you thought we'd have a bad season. You can't complain because 3 weeks ago you said that you were relaxed and calm. Well, things change. Things change. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm quite a calm man when I'm out, but someone steps towards my children, I'm no longer calm. Doesn't mean I can't not be calm because I was calm before I got angry. What weird logic in this world now. It's very, very strange behaviour. But Garnacho leaving, do you see this happening? I want your views and want your opinions. I also want to understand what you think about this season's transfer window so far. I want to know your thoughts on it. Is it recoverable? What do you see happening? Because look, some decent links in the last 24 hours to Estepinian, to Emi Martinez. And I'm not going to lie, I like both those deals. A lot of people didn't like what I said yesterday about Onana, but I stand on it. Martinez makes almost 20% more saves. His mid to long range passing is better. I think it's between 13 and 15% better at catching crosses. That's quite significant. Prevents more goals, as an example. He has these bozo moments himself, I'm not going to lie. I've never seen him dive the wrong way on a shot. I've never seen him concede at least 8 now simple crosses into the box and they've bounced past him and gone in. I don't remember seeing him do that many. So if we can get that at a good price, it's an improvement. And I like the idea of Estepinian. I really like the idea of that man. Both of them at the right price, by the way, because I'm not going to yield on that. I like that. We definitely need someone in midfield. Obviously, we've got to get Mbuemo over the line as well. Let's not forget about that. It does feel like we're starting to have some conversations now that, we've got some money trickling in from Elanga and Sancho and the sell-on clauses, but they've got a motor on now because the summer is still, to a degree, salvageable, but it hasn't been a great start. We're doing football training this week. We have one new player for Ruben Amorim, and that's a disgrace. And before I go to your comments, the reason why I'm calling it out more than anything, the reason why I'm fuming with that more than anything is because I know what 95% of Man United fans are going to do 2 months into next season if we're bad. If this summer window doesn't get better, if this summer window doesn't improve dramatically, what you are going to see is this notion. What you are going to see is this, we've done it every year. We'll forget about the Glazers. We'll forget about Ineos, whether you like them or hate them is irrelevant. We'll forget about it. And it'll be, Ineos and the Glazers don't pick the team. Oh, Ineos and the Glazers don't make subs. Oh, Ineos and the Glazers don't coach the team. We'll just turn 95% of moaning Man United fans suddenly turn on the manager. And for me, that is just the most warped logic ever. If the squad isn't good enough already, and we have a bad summer, the last person I'm blaming is the manager. I'm not blaming him. By and large, there'll be things I'll criticize him for, but by and large, I'm not blaming him. But that's my one worry. That's my call out to a lot of the exceedingly negative and toxic fans. And I ain't talking about people talking about the news, because it's right to look at both sides. I'm talking about the people that have perpetuated lies about our club this summer. And there's been many, and not redacted them. They'll soon forget about it. They don't care about Ineos. They just care about the dopamine hit, being able to gloat, and they will always look for the next hit, and the next hit will be the manager. So be very mindful of that and keep your eyes open for it. We've got some super chats to do here. This one says, can't believe we did not sell Bruno when we need to sell to buy. I don't understand the sporting people at Man United's logic. Well, we couldn't. They didn't put a bid in. They didn't put an official bid in because the player said he wasn't going to go. So there was very little that could be done. Some will say I'm defending Ineos there. We maybe could have forced him out. But if he wasn't going to sign the contract, what were we going to do? Not play our captain, not play our best player. Not play a man who, for 5 years, has been consistently saving us. Our only real level of consistency. And even himself has inconsistent moments. And periods. But no, we couldn't force him out. again, this is what I mean. I'll criticise Ineos for being slow this summer. I'll criticise them for not selling enough. I'll criticise them for not getting deals done fast enough to help the manager. What I won't do is criticise them for things that are not their fault. Bruno didn't want to leave. He's got multiple years left on his contract. You can't... We could have sat him in the stands and said, we'll sit you in the stands and force you out. Well, that doesn't work. I don't think that would have been the right tactic, personally. I really don't. Patrick Lynch here says, I get the apprehension about Sancho, but isn't there a risk of him staying and paying those wages anyway? Great point, Patrick. But for me, what I'm personally focused on is the longer-term precedent. I'm a firm believer in life. And you look at it as someone who's sculpting their body, someone who's gone to the gym, cutting out bad foods. You will go through more pain short-term for longer-term success if you do things correctly. My fear is that we have to do it for multiple players this summer, multiple players next summer. And over the next 2 years, we yield another 50, 60 million. That's a whole player. That's maybe 2 players. That's my fear. Why? Because we've been ruled by player power at this club for 7 to 8 years, and it is one of the biggest and most key components into us failing. The debt at the club is terrible, but we've still been able to spend 1.6 billion in that time. The thing that's killed us has been player power, players getting what they want, players working hard when they want. This, for me, is maybe the most important and key factor to fix at this club. And we pick and choose as fans. I'm sorry to get irate, but I love this club too much to not do this. I can't lie to you all. Player power, I believe, has been one of the biggest, if not the biggest key component into us failing. Throwing managers under buses, moaning about every coach and every type of training session. I think a lack of consistency in this team sometimes is players going, oh, I'm not going to work hard today. Oh, I've really worked hard the last 3 games. We'll get away with giving 80% today. All of that it comes from player power. It's coupled with bad management. Oh, they put me on 250 grand a week. What are they going to do? I've got a 6-year deal. I'm going to win. The manager will get sacked. They won't be able to sell me. I can just sit here and stay. And if I have to go, I'll go on a nice loan. I'll still earn all my money. Everyone's a winner. We cannot forget what got us here. We cannot forget what put us in this position. It wasn't just the Glazers like a buzzword. It was the actions and the precedents that were set. And I want us to break them. Because I don't care whether we've got Qatari owners, American owners, Australian owners, Martian owners. I don't give a damn. If player power still exists, we're doomed. We will never challenge for a Premier League title again if player power ensues. We just won't. Because we have player power coupled with bad culture. You can only fix the culture if player power is eliminated first. Every facet of life and business will teach you this. Every single one. You take over a naughty classroom of children. You are not getting those kids to fix their grades until you stop them fighting each other, talking over you, turning up on time. Until you get them on side, but until you get them behaving right. When the behavior is correct, you can start more learning. You can't just go, right, today I'm going to start teaching you something new and you're going to catch up on your grades. They're going to say, do one. Because there's no culture. They rule the roost. This works for every classroom, every sports team, every business, every family, ever in the history of society. We cannot forget this. I hope I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. Maybe it's just this one deal. Maybe we get good deals done on the others. Maybe we've cut down that severance to a third of what they originally wanted. And maybe we actually have done a good job within it. I'm open to that, Patrick. But this scares the living daylights out of me. And if we're giving severances to all these players, I am not going to trust Ineos anymore because they will not be fixing us. Because they are echoing and repeating the same mistakes that led to this problem in the first place. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And I'll say this bluntly, and I don't care who I offend. Couldn't care less. I think the vast majority of Man United fans in the last 13 years have not been focusing on the true root cause problems of this football club. It's always a manager or a player. Think about every time we're struggling. Think about it. Oh, get rid of Fellaini, we'll be a better team. Rooney's overpaid. Rooney's a problem now. Oh, listen, once we get rid of LVG, bring me a winner and we'll win. Jose's the winner. Jose's toxic. Get him out. Pogba's a virus. When he's gone, we'll be fixed. Rashford's a problem. Martial's a problem. Bruno's a problem. McTominay's a problem. Once Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's gone, once the PE teacher's gone, and I get a proper coach, we'll get proper ballers, we'll have a real system, we'll make it work. Oh, no. Ten Hag's got to leave now. We need a manager that's got a regimented system. We don't need a manager with a regimented system. It's too rigid. What's going... We're always focusing on the symptoms. Symptoms. If I've got a brain tumour, painkillers might get rid of a headache. They are not fixing the problem. We spend too much time, and that is YouTubers, journalists, TikTokers. We never... Like right now, everyone's saying Ineos are killing us. Fine. When we're 15th next year, I don't want to hear Amorim out. I only want to hear Ineos being spoken about. They're the root cause, right? Come on now. Because even if you change the manager, if the root cause problem is still there, it's irrelevant. Come on, guys. Wake up. Terry, I think the window could improve, but it won't be because Ineos are completely inept. We're in the mud. So if it improves, who's improved it? I take your point that you think they're inept, but if it improves and you're happy with it, who's accountable for that? I'd love to get your take on that, my friend. I really would. Bruno would have left if the club asked him to get it right. Maybe. But the manager wanted him to stay. So we've also moaned for years. When you say get it right, fine. The player didn't want to leave. The manager that we're all... This is where we've got to get our own standards in order. We're all sitting here fuming that Ruben Amorim isn't being given the players to improve the team. We're all sitting here fuming that the ownership are cutting the manager's legs off, pulling the rug from under his feet, not giving him enough. At the same very moment, we're saying, well, we should have sold the player he wanted to keep, that he was desperate to keep. I don't think that, again, I personally, subjectively, would have liked that to have happened. But I'm not going to sit here and blame Ineos for doing what we've all been asking for, and that is to back a manager. We can't ask a manager to be backed and then cry when he's backed. You've got to... There's a point where you've just got to let things go to a certain degree and go, okay, well, I've asked for the manager to be backed. The manager says, I need this. We can't then go, yeah, but I don't want him being backed like that because I don't like that. It's crazy. We can't do that. It's why people say, Terry, why are you being patient with Ineos? Because I said whoever takes us over, Ineos Qataris, I'm going to give it 2 to 3 years before I overly judge. I'm just being true to my word. I need a manager that's backed. We need a manager to be bought the players he needs, renew the contracts that he needs. We need the manager to be backed and all the problem players be sold. Yes. Oh, not that problem player because I like him. No, it doesn't work like that. Drop your own emotions sometimes and look at it on a more objective level. It does help, trust me. Bruno, this here says, this is from Carl. He says, Ashworth gave us a plan that would have fixed the problem, but the club and fans were too impatient. What was that plan? Remind me. Remind me what that plan was. Because for me, the guy wanted Southgate. And I don't think bringing in Southgate would have fixed us. I don't think bringing in Southgate would have sped things up any faster. The thing is the squad needs... This is the thing. I think we're focusing on incorrect problems. They obviously found they couldn't work together, and I criticised Ineos for that. But no matter who the manager is, we needed to rip up everything and start again. We needed a new way of playing. We still need 80 to 85% of that squad gone. If we do that properly, we're going to go backwards before we go forward. That is typically how most clubs that have been in the doldrums for over a decade go. Rarely did it just get better instantly, okay? Especially when you've got cultural problems at the club. So you'll see someone like Newcastle in relegation taken over and they start getting better. Then they have cultural problems at the club. You know, their players, the improvements they saw straight away were so motivating for them because they were on much smaller money. They had the chance to earn bigger money, so there was a carrot being dangled. These guys were having ice baths in paddling pools from Argos. Suddenly, they're being told about state-of-the-art equipment, going to this level. That motivated their players to work harder. We have players that have got away with cutting corners for years on huge money who now see their job under threat. They're going to dig their heels in and make it harder, aren't they? They're going to dig their heels in and try and stop the change. Because if the change stops, they keep earning the money. No manager was fixing that quickly. No manager. You could have brought Pep in with Klopp as the assistant. It wouldn't have changed overnight. Broken to its core. Even when Klopp took over Liverpool, they were already 3 to 4 years in FSG to their process of fixing that club. And he took them to another level. If he'd have taken over straight away, it might have taken him even longer to win his first trophy, comparatively. Let's be fair about this. Our fault the players are on big bucks. Yes, it's Man United's fault, Cameron. I don't want to defend them. Ineos didn't put most of them on that money, by the way. They're solving the problem. And I know people don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. It says paying players off is a punishment if we pay for our mistakes. Don't make the mistake again and it won't reoccur. There is logic in that. In terms of the finances, you pay that off, makes a lot of sense. However, it's the precedent. Now, look, I want to say this as well. One of the other big stories today as well that I wanted to get your views on was the Mbuemo situation, where Jamie Jackson is now saying that Brentford are now trying to raise the valuation again closer to 70 million. Now, that 70 million mark has been mentioned by Sky Sports, Ben Jacobs, and of course Fabrizio Romano 40-odd days ago. TalkSport today have also said that they're pushing for the deal and asking for a set fee of around 62.5 million. Now, I think there'll be some Man United fans that will say that's just PR. The club's stalling. We don't know why they're stalling. We've got no facts on why they're stalling. But I think that Man United are just pushing out nonsense, pushing out lies to sort of protect themselves, really, and cover their backsides. That's fair. There's also a chance it's true, though, is there not? Is there also a chance that Brentford are trying to hike that price up? We're seeing Sporting do that to Arsenal right now, even after an agreement in principle. But what do you make of it? I'd love to get your opinions on this. I'd love to get your thoughts on this in the comments sections below. Lightning says, I blame Man United for taking too long because Brentford are seeing what other players are being sold for. It's a really fair point. Cunha and Mbuemo is backing the manager. We need to get rid of the deadwood as well when they give him 3 more players. Agree, Joe, 100%. So you're backing Amorim. Don't forget what you said. I'll clip this for you later. We're going to get relegated. Not even God can help us. Yeah, I'm behind Amorim. I'm supporting him. I think he's a very good manager. I think if we improve his squad, I think he can start to improve the team. But if we don't improve the squad, he could lose the dressing room. He can start falling out with players. He can get into a massive fight with the manager. And then, with new facts and information, I will say the manager's got to go. But I've said this about the sacking of every single previous manager at Man United. And I'm sorry to sound like an arrogant so-and-so, but I've been spot on every time. Told to shut up every time, but correct. Just sacking our manager has never once improved Man United in the medium to long term. So anyone who just says, sack the manager and we'll get better, they're liars. They're lying to you. Because it would be the 7th time we've done it. And it's going to be okay this time, but I promise. Come on now. So again, and let's not be unintelligent. This is the biggest and the best Man United community in the world. Let us not be, for want of a better word, thick here. Okay? Someone saying I'm backing the manager, and in 6 months' time, because he's having literal fights on the training ground with players, he's falling out with the owners, the results aren't getting better because he wasn't backed. He could come to the end of his tenure and have to go. That doesn't mean he's the problem. We do this so much at Man United, it's crazy. We all feel off the rails because Man United hasn't signed more players nor sold. We need a striker and goalkeeper, need to work on more than one deal at a time. Look, well, it depends if you believe the reports. I think we are working on more than one deal at a time. You know, it says here we've been talking to Estepina. We're talking. We just can't move until more players are sold. And that's the predicament we're in because of 13 years of financial malpractice. And it's a shame. Some people, though, want the club to yield and sell players at more of a loss or less profit, like a Sancho. That's a fair remedy. Maybe that's the way forward. There was another super chat as well from Carl that says the plan always was to make do. We picked 2 managers with Rubik's Cube tactics, needing specific players. Didn't have to be Southgate. This is fine, but all managers need specific players. All managers need specific players. They just need specific players to what they need. Thomas Frank at Spurs needs players with versatility. It's a real big important part for him, because some weeks they'll be defensive, some weeks they'll be attacking. Some managers will want a certain profile of player, and that's fine. But I think most managers need a particular type of footballer to make their football work consistently. Brentford, Brighton, etc., they hire managers that suit the profiles of players that their clubs consistently buy. They have a full club plan. So the clubs have a plan and buy specific profiles and then hire the managers to coach those profiles. And they hire the managers who are used to and like working with those types of profiles. It's how well-run clubs work. So I don't want a manager that doesn't care about the kind of profiles of players that he's got, because that means the club hasn't got a plan. And if the club doesn't have a plan long-term, we're screwed. It's like trying to drive to Timbuktu without a map. You might make it, but it'll be lucky. Look, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I love sharing your views. I know we don't all see things the same way, and I think that's the beauty of this wonderful community. Make sure you've hit the like button before you go. Make sure you are subscribing here as well. Very, very important to Mark and the rest of the United Stand family that you get that done. I'm live. I'm back Friday, 8 p.m. here. That is where I'll be. If you want to watch some more of me, 3:15 UK time, I'm live on my channel for Straight Facts, talking United, talking Liverpool, talking Arsenal and transfers. So it'd be great to see you over there. But thank you all very much. I appreciate you all being here, especially the people that challenge. Because it's very easy in this world to hear something you don't like and run away. Put your tail between your legs. But listen, I like the challenge. I think it's fantastic. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again.